What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about SoFi. I want to go over some of the data points, latest in SoFi updates, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So SoFi closed in the red slightly, 0.07%, 26.56 the low, 27.28 the high, and 42 million shares being traded. So very low volume. In fact, over the last week, we did see a significant amount of money leaving both crypto and equity to go back into money markets. This is why not just SoFi, pretty much the whole broader market is experiencing kind of low volume. So we did see about $1.19 billion leave, again, crypto and equity. Grand total right now is $7.66 trillion. So for whatever reason, big money is still very hesitant about the broader market. And there was a couple of things that did come out today that caused some volatility. So first thing, we did have initial jobless claims came in at 236, forecast of 205. You also had the market digesting Powell, the most recent rate cut, and just how kind of among the Fed members, there's just inconsistencies. Some were in favor of a higher rate cut, some were in favor of kind of no cut. So you had just very all over the place. So that market doesn't like gray. At the same time, though, you also do have now fears of a potential shutdown, even though we just kind of concluded the previous one. But January 31st, 2026, mark this on your calendar. Right now, there is a 43% probability of another shutdown. So that could make for another, I guess, interesting year, good start to 2026. So again, the market's kind of fearful right now, right? And then aside from that, though, on a positive note, one thing that kind of pushed a lot of stocks higher was this right here. So Trump administration plans to boost tax breaks for corporations. I feel like if technically there wasn't so much fear, this would have really skyrocketed the broader market. But nonetheless, we did see a lot of volatility. SoFi did actually lag. I know a lot of people like to compare SoFi and Robinhood, which Robinhood went down 9.05%, but technically in the eyes of Wall Street, SoFi is more of a kind of lender of sorts. Of course, I think they're developing more and more on their broker side, but as far as right now, I think a good comparable is Upstart, and they actually closed in the green, 0.65%. So SoFi, in comparison to kind of like-minded stocks, did lag a little bit. There wasn't really anything new from SoFi today as far as news, no SEC filings. We did see them post this on social media, just saying that you can now send money, obviously through the blockchain, to 30 plus countries. I gave an update, I think it was like a week, 2 weeks ago, that listed a lot of European countries, but it actually didn't list India. So as far as this, that's new information. So definitely good stuff for that. And I think in general, if you think about it, technically we'll be having a lot more countries probably in 2026. So this is going to be a pretty big thing for SoFi. And then aside from that, though, was posted by SoFi Insider, just shows that SoFi is becoming a little bit more popular. So based on the finance rankings from the Apple Store, it looks like SoFi is roughly around 16. So definitely a lot better than what it was, which was kind of flirting between or rotating between that 25 and 30 range. So definitely good to see. Hopefully that does kind of work out to be stronger member growth in Q4, which I think, again, based on all the data that we've seen and the most recent fireside chat, the hints from that, I think we're definitely going to be far exceeding the previous guidance. So that'll be a pretty good thing. Regarding shorts, they did increase 210,000 shares. So they are kind of all over the place. They seem to increase for the last week, last 2 days, they kind of return. Today they're increasing. They're all over the place. But 9.9% of the free float is being shorted, which does work out to be 115 million shares overall are being shorted. And that does kind of work out to be $3.2 billion. So kind of crazy stuff for that. Looking at the options, 31 million in calls, 11 million in puts, and then 45% of all the options being done were bearish in nature. From a bull standpoint, you see a consensus for it to be roughly 28 to 28.50, so a little bit more of a recovery, which is good. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub kind of 26. So tomorrow's a big day, not so much for data points because the only thing that we really have coming out is a lot of Fed speakers. But then again, I guess there is a lot of hot topics that they could really bring up and kind of focus on. With tomorrow being Friday though, this is the open interest. So with us roughly around the $27 range, there's not really anything crazy close to us. We have 11,000 at the 27.50, 20,000 at the 28, 29,000 at the 28.50, then 23,000 at the 29. So it is fair to assume that we probably won't be having any gamma squeeze or anything. These are all the transactions that did occur on the secondary market above $100,000. So if you are one of those individuals that wants to compare it to Robinhood, this is the biggest difference, is that we did have a lot of institutions actually buying SoFi as per usual. But big ones for today, 46.7, 10.8, both buys. This one was a sell first thing, 5.96. So most likely that is why we did have the kind of extra volatility point or whatever. I'm making up words again. First thing. So that's probably why, for again, whatever reason why institutions decided to sell. These are all the transactions that did occur on the dark pool above $100,000. So the largest one on that exchange was 2.9 million. So kind of low stuff. So that kind of matches with the fact that shorts didn't really do all that much. Again, increasing 210,000 is relatively quiet. So you can see from this teal line right here, even at the peak, they were increasing roughly around 1.7 million. With it closing at 27.07, it is trading between this pivot and this S1. After hours is kind of dragging a little bit lower than this S1, but it's kind of low volume, so I wouldn't really kind of consider that broken just yet. But for tomorrow, watch for 27.04. If that does fail to hold, then 26.22 will be the following support level. Flip side, 28.38 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. So I think right now, not just SoFi, but the broader market is starting to lose a little bit of momentum. Tomorrow is going to be another key point to watch for that 100-day moving average. Luckily enough, it's kind of bounced off of that general range, but tomorrow most likely that is going to be retested again, and that is sitting at 26.49. So if that does break, then anticipate similar price action to what happened in November, or possibly even back in April. So not saying April lows are going to occur, but you might see kind of a push lower. And plus, given the recent price action over the last several months with SoFi, the next big support level is going to be that 200-day moving average, roughly around $20. Again, not saying that's going to hit, but you never know. If things really start to kind of escalate, then you never know. So as I've mentioned, I think it's very difficult to catch the highs as well as the lows with SoFi. Best thing to do is just dollar cost average. That's actually probably better for a lot of people's mental health. On a side note, I know a lot of people don't really talk about that as much as they should, but for those of you that are trading on margin, these types of kind of crazy swings, they will give you gray hairs so fast. But nonetheless, looking at the market position, you see a little bit more downside. In all fairness, it could go either way. So you see a strong amount of willing sellers and also strong amount of willing buyers right there. So it could go either way, like I said. So all it needs is ideally a a small little push, and then it can easily move back to that 50-day moving average, retest that. Or potentially flip side, it could again kind of consolidate a little bit more. There really hasn't been that much in articles. A couple of articles coming out about yesterday's news about the smart card, which was pretty good if you ask me, but no new analyst ratings or anything like that. So let me know your general thoughts on SoFi. Are you buying? Are you selling? As I mentioned, I think it was in my video yesterday, the only thing I've done recently was sold a $25 put. So that way, yeah, if it closes by below 25 by tomorrow, then I buy more stock of it, but probably won't hit that. So that way I'll get the free premium. Win-win for me, at least. So that's why one thing I really do recommend for a lot of individuals, again, if you're kind of wanting to dollar cost average, just do weekly options, sell puts, and do it at a price that you wouldn't mind. So even if it's at 27, just start selling a couple weeks out for $24, $22 strike prices. If it hits, then you get to buy it at that price. Win-win. And regardless if it does or doesn't, you get to keep the premium. So definitely take the time to research options. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto. Despite the kind of iffy day that did happen, a lot of my day trades went up like 50%, 60%, so they were on point. So definitely worthwhile to pop over there and check that out. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.